Hey guys, it's Vince. Today in this video, I want to cover something that has been coming up. Now it's been coming up probably at least, what, two, 3 times a week?
Sure.
We're looking at doing a retrofit on Gerber systems. Now, many of you guys are aware Gerber was a very high quality and still is a high quality chassis. Unfortunately, like so many other of these vendors, they go out of business. And when they go out of business, and of course they're proprietary, you guys can pick these chassis up cheap. Unfortunately, you can't get parts to retrofit them easily. That being said, me doing so many of them, I wanted to do a kit that would make the process much easier. Let me explain. I've got here one of my Nema 23 600-ounce motors. The shaft on this motor is 8mm diameter. We have here a shaft expander. Okay, these are made out of brass. I make them. And what this will allow is us to take this internal bore of 8mm and expand it to 11mm. Why 11mm? Because that is what a Gerber pulley system is. Now, of course, there are different machines that will use different interior bore pulleys. You'll have maybe some have 1/2 inch, some can have real oddball ones at 13 mil. These I can make in virtually any size. And again, the big thing to keep in mind here is how you would use this, because you guys are looking at this and going, wait, that's a solid piece. How would I use this to convert my Gerber? Well, that's a very good question. I'm about to cover it right now. To give you guys a visual example, because I do not have a Gerber pulley, because I don't own a Gerber machine, I'm going to utilize this stainless coupler, and this is one of the ones I offer, and I want to use it to give you just a visual perspective of how this works. Okay, it's very simple. I also want you to pretend that this set screw hole has not been drilled. That this is just a solid coupler. So both of these holes, let's pretend that they have not been drilled. So we have here a hole that we're going to insert, our shaft expander. Once the shaft expander is going to go in there, many of you understand how this works. This would be the example of your pulley. This would have a bore dimension of 11mm, which is the exterior on this shaft expander, and it would go inside here. What you need to understand is that process, in order to do this correctly, we would then take this prior to inserting it inside of the pulley, and we would clean this in preferably acetone or paint remover, something to remove all oils. You would do that first, then you would scuff this up with 180 sandpaper. I recommend 180. You can go 200, but the sandier it is, the better off it is as far as having a rough surface. Why? Well, then the next step is going to be to apply, and this is JB Weld, and this is the slow JB Weld. This is the original JB Weld formula that, once again, takes 24 hours to dry, and I recommend letting it dry at least 24 hours. Don't be afraid to let it dry 2 days or 3 days to make sure you get a good bond.
Hey guys, jump over to eDealers Direct Automation and check out my eBay store for the components used to make what you see in this video, as well as many others that you may not even realize you need. Of course, I'm always there if you have questions. Message me and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And of course, I do custom engineering as well as consultations. Thank you for watching this video and your support. Take care.
Now, in retrospect, we're not going to be using the JB Weld for anything other than a jig. Let me explain. Once you've applied JB Weld to the shaft expander and we insert it into the pulley, okay, it's going to dry. And once again, if we're pretending that these holes for the set screws have not been put into the pulley yet, once this shaft expander dries, the pulley and the shaft expander becomes one. That being said, once it becomes one, you are going to mark on here using a pressurized center punch, I recommend, to prevent your drill from walking. And what that would allow then is for you to drill your pulley while your jig from the JB Weld is actually holding in the shaft expander, so that you will drill completely through both of them. You'll come through the shaft expander as well as coming through the pulley. And then your next step will be to tap the entire assembly. Now, some guys may say, well, why don't you just drill this out and then you could just let them drill the pulley and match the tap threads. It doesn't work that way. So I'm just letting you guys know, don't think that I've never tried that. I think a lot of guys have tried that. The principle is very simple. In order to do tapping correctly, you must have a symmetrical tap, meaning that tap would go all the way through the bore and go all the way through this shaft expander. And once that process is done and the JB Weld is once again holding this unit in place so it cannot move when it's being drilled, then you will go in one symmetrical fashion, tapping both the pulley along with the shaft expander. Once that's done, now many of you may be saying, well, what size set screw should I use? Or how many set screws should I use? Well, that's going to be up to the end user. And the reason I say that is because, once again, I don't have the pulley in front of me, but typically I recommend a 2 to 3 millimeter set screw, and I recommend at least 2. If you want to do 3, you can do that. You can see on my motor shaft here, we have a flat. Now that's naturally for set screw engagement. So that set screw, when it hits, it doesn't require a lot of pressure. It's going to engage on the flat. When the motor spins, it will engage the flat and therefore make it more of a uniform contact point so that we don't have slippage like we would on a round shaft. So keep that in mind. Overall, you could see the JB Weld, once again, just to clarify, is acting as a jig to hold that shaft expander in place while we are able then to mark and drill the entire pulley assembly and then tap it. This way, we then can insert our set screws. And once we insert our set screws, the reason I said that the JB Weld technically is just being used as a jig to hold that component in place while you're tapping the whole assembly is because once the set screws are in and mounted to the motor shaft, you will not have any problems with the engagement because now the unit is mechanically being held in place using our set screws. So yes, the JB Weld will of course utilize more strength when it's actually inserted in your pulley system. You're going to have the excess strength from that too, but the technical aspect is we really aren't using the JB Weld for anything other than keeping that shaft expander symmetrical and locked in place for when we drill and tap our pulley. Now, what I've just explained here, of course, can be used on a multitude of chassis. And why I'm telling you that is I know many of you now are getting ideas because many of you are finding these Gerbers and other type of older systems and saying, man, if I just had a way to retrofit it with modern technology, I'd be set. Well, now you have a way. And this is very, very simple to do. And once again, we are dealing with a very, very easy conversion once you understand how to do it. You can see once again, and I'll state this, that the external diameter on this shaft expander is 11 millimeters. The internal diameter is 8. So once this is drilled and tapped along when it's mounted inside the pulley, you're all set to go. I mean, that's as easy as it is. Once again, I have the client system right here, and I do that to keep you guys in tune with the options you have. A lot of guys are thinking you have to go out and immediately purchase, more proprietary components. And this is why I tell you, I hate proprietary. If these companies go out of business, and let me tell you, it's happening left and right. I just had it happen today, did I not, about open builds. I heard that they're going out of business. I'm not sure, I haven't researched it myself, but I don't know why somebody would lie about that. And we're going to see that a lot. Right now, we're in a tricky situation with tariffs and all kinds of other stuff. And if people don't have a stable business model, they're going to be gone. I mean, it's a fact. So keep that in mind. With that same principle, though, of other businesses being gone, there's a lot of opportunity. And when I say that, that means you can pick up a Gerber. I can't tell you how many guys have told me I've picked up a Gerber for, $500. And that used to be a $20,000 to $50,000 machine. The chassis are excellent. It's just understanding how do we adapt the motors to the chassis. Another thing to keep in mind, and I get this question a lot, On the Nema 23s, the bolt mounting pattern, if the bolt mounting pattern is off slightly, you can naturally make adjustments. And on most Gerbers, the whole differential on their mounting pattern, because again, they were using proprietary motors, is usually off by 1 millimeter to 1.5 millimeters. Now, what does that translate to? That translates to you guys saying, well, all I've got to do then is use a slightly larger drill, bore out that hole, give myself a little place so I can adjust the motor. The motor's got a centering shaft, so once the shaft engages with the transmission, you can easily center that up. That's not a big deal. The big deal is adapting your transmission components to the motor, and that's exactly why I'm telling you this process works extremely well for those guys that want to do this and once again get the machine off to the races with more modern technology while adapting and saving a bunch of money. Because once again, if you were trying to import that chassis, especially right now with tariffs of that quality, you would be paying a fortune. So keep that in mind. And again, I hope that this video has been helpful, and I cannot emphasize enough, be careful when you're looking at proprietary equipment. These companies that are here today and gone tomorrow because they have a limited structure, in the sense that, I'm going to be truthful, they really don't understand business the way they should at a level to protect themselves. And when I say protect themselves, I'm talking about a larger database of different products. If they have, one or two chassis that they're working with and they're looking at component expansion, it's very, very tough to do that. So when you see these companies that are only having one specific chassis or two specific chassis, and they make you wait 3 to 4 weeks, some make you wait 3 months, be careful, because all it's going to take is something like these tariffs or something else. And then they say, oh, I'm out of business. And guess what? All their past legacy of components, you're screwed. Everybody that's bought that stuff, then they're all in a panic. Oh my God, what to do? Case in point, I just want to touch base on this, not to get too far off subject. I got an email from Masso because I've discussed previously that we were going back and forth. I was deciding whether I want to carry it or not. And I found it interesting that I got an email because I was registered as an email user with them. And I found out that they wanted to charge monthly to keep with updates. Then they decided, after a whole bunch of feedback came in from their community, that they didn't like that. And of course, then they changed their mind. Guys, I'm telling you something just so you know, no bullshit. And many of you already know that and respect me for it. I'm going to tell you the way it is. If they did it once, they're going to do it again. Do you know why? Because they have to. They don't have the support database of products. You can't sell 1 or 2 products and expect that to be enough to carry you over. It's not. And in an industry that's expanding as fast as this, it's not going to happen. I'm making a prediction. I'm telling you the truth. Be careful. And that's why I'm telling you all of this. This is the genius behind non-proprietary equipment, is that once you guys are comfortable enough to work and understand what's possible with what's on the market now in non-proprietary equipment, then it's just a matter of you finding the applications for it. And that's it. And if you don't find the application, you contact me, we schedule a consultation. The consultation, I've said it a million times, will pay for itself, because you'll learn something, you'll end up saving money like this client, and you'll be good to go. So again, I want to thank you all for your support. I hope the video has been helpful. Take care.